Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler just got officially confirmed by Conor himself, his manager. Basically, every reporting outlet, as well as Michael Chandler too, has pitched in and alluded that this fight is on for UFC 303 in June.
I want to say that this is going to be a make or break for Conor and Chandler if he wants to rise his stock even higher if he finishes McGregor in impressive fashion. It's a win-win on both sides, but
now, at the time of recording, Dana White has not confirmed this, but nonetheless, whether it is on this date or not, Conor McGregor is fighting Michael Chandler when he gets back. And it's important to note that McGregor and the UFC have been going at it like crazy, and this is huge for the fight based on the theories as to why the UFC has been so hesitant to book this fight. It's obvious to everyone that Conor McGregor has a lot of vices, and the theory going around is that McGregor has been using steroids long past the time needed to recover from his injuries, and the UFC had a whole falling out with USADA, primarily over how they were treating Conor, that a lot of hardcore fans are thinking the reason why the UFC wouldn't book Conor versus Chandler earlier is because McGregor still had steroids in his system.
If McGregor was using roids to fix his leg, that's one thing. But he also ended up shooting a movie and being extremely big for that movie as well. So you also have to take into consideration he was doing that. Plus, they said he's got tons of obligations flying all over the world to premiere this movie. So at the same time, Dana knows he's not going to be 100% involved. So that could also be. Plus, UFC is now under TKO earnings or whatever, or holdings. So they're a public company. He's got to do what's best for the company, not for his pocket anymore.
About it from the UFC perspective, why would they not want to book McGregor as soon as possible? That is their cash cow times a million. There is not a single athlete on the planet that draws in the revenue that Conor McGregor does. Not Floyd Mayweather, not Israel Adesanya, not Ilya Topuria. Conor McGregor brings a level of exposure that no other fighter can bring to them. The only other theory was that they were holding out so they could leverage Conor for their next TV deal due to the fact that their ESPN deal is running out, but not getting too into the weeds there, because if that theory is true about the steroids, and it really does check out when you look at his Instagram and how he's acting and the color of his skin, the growth of his neck, there's a lot supporting that theory. But to coincide with that, because McGregor was both shooting and promoting his new movie Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal, that's been a huge time constraint. The whole reason we know this fight is booked is because he kept on getting asked about it during the promotional run of Roadhouse, and this has taken up a load of his time where he was not fighting, not training. A lot of the times Dana didn't even know where he was, his coach didn't know where he was, and you don't know where his head's really at, because he's alluding to coming back to acting. Yes, he said that fighting is still the focus, but he has talked about how much more time he wants to put into acting and his...
He also wants to finish out his UFC contract. He wants to fight Chandler, then he's got one fight left. He wants to do the Diaz trilogy, then he wants to box Pacquiao by December so that he could definitely cash in on the Saudi Arabian deals, because those guys are making like $50 million. He's going to make maybe $5 in the UFC, so take a quick $10 million and then run to Saudi Arabia to get another $50.
Business. He even said that he was going to party for St. Patrick's Day before he got back into training. Granted, that is only one day, and Conor's Irish. I would hope he would celebrate that, but there's clearly a lack of focus, and more so in terms of steroids. There's a lot of other effects that can have on your training and your cardio and your muscle reconstruction. Even when you cycle off, your body still doesn't come back to a fully neutral state, and he has other drug addictions besides just steroids, and as you can see in a lot of his interviews and a lot of the Roadhouse material, it looks like the dude's on cocaine. I'm not gonna lie, I think most people when they see Conor interviews, he's all over the place. I think you can really tell because some interviews he talks normal, and some interviews he's just going completely off the walls, and that was another theory, that the UFC was holding this out so Conor could get off cocaine. Now that is a crazy theory, and obviously there's not a lot to back it, but when you see the guy's interviews, I think you can kind of see where they're coming from. Now, I hope he hasn't used steroids, I hope he hasn't used cocaine, but that sounds completely foolhardy to say, and to support the fact
if he is on the booger sugar. I don't know how often, but if he's not out at night partying, you do see him. He's always with his wife and his kids all the time. Besides that, he's got some video of him working out every other post, but a lot of the time he's with his family.
Fact that he hasn't been training that seriously. His coach John Kavanagh just went on the MMA Hour, said that he was meeting Conor for the first time in months this week at the promotional tour. John Kavanagh, his head coach that got him to double champion status, did not know where Conor was. Now, he did say Conor was training because Conor is often on the road. You can't say the training quality when you're on the road going from gym to gym. Training on your yacht, training all over the world is the same value as training with your head coach for years. There's just not the same level of focus, not the same sparring part. You're not drilling the same techniques. Now, it is important to note that in this time, Conor did become a black belt. Now, the degree of black belt is definitely up for question in terms of the school he got it from, but I'm not one to judge that. To compare that to Michael Chandler is an absolute unit. He also looks like he's on steroids. Now
Chandler is considered like the American dream. He wrestled. The dude is literally chiseled to the max for 155. Taking that into consideration, that means he's in the gym all day, grinding all day, focusing, doing the same mental routine. So he's not really out of whack because he hasn't fought, because he's still keeping his tools sharpened.
I'm the real couch coach saying everyone's a steroid user, but Michael Chandler is built like a Greek god. Anyways, Michael Chandler has been training hard. He trains at Stanford. He lives a very disciplined life. I think anyone can tell that. He is a non-stop machine, and he has known about this fight for 2 years. He's taken 2 years off, and he was active before, and he's definitely nursed a lot of injuries, and definitely been moving with the sole focus of this fight. And when you look at Conor, his last fight was against Dustin, where he snapped his leg, and he wasn't looking great in that fight. And then Dustin Conor 2, his takedown defense was pretty terrible. And then in the third fight, he was getting pieced up on the feet, and then he snapped his leg, only to then go on a hiatus of drinking, doing drugs, doing steroids, bulking up, unbulking, rebulking, doing a movie, training on the road, leaving your gym, somehow becoming a black belt in that time, coming back, nursing the injury, on and off, crazy interviews. Somewhere along the way, his Irish accent got thicker, and he cannot speak in a straight sentence anymore. Conor is not looking great going into this, and his legacy is on the line. Now, I'm really hoping Conor goes out there and chins him. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a huge Conor stan, just like everyone else. Even if you hate Conor, you're a Conor fan. You definitely watch one of the thousands of cringe Conor Instagram reels and got a little bit pumped up. Anyways, Conor's legacy being on the line is huge because the whole aura around double champion status has come down drastically. Now, he is the only one to do it simultaneously. We saw Alex Pereira just walk in and become double champ. We saw Ilia Topuria go on a run very similar to him at featherweight. We saw Sean O'Malley, a star compared to Conor so often, and now he's racking up defenses. He's getting 50.
Okay, so yes, Sean and Ilya both follow the Conor blueprint. Sean O'Malley is a big crowd favorite. He doesn't have that Conor McGregor original superstar aura. Ilia Topuria kind of has that because he has literally a whole country behind him the same way Conor did. Ilia also has a lot of Conor's similarities. Their tattoos, those are similar. His back tattoo down the spine is similar. The way he talks about how he wants to be active but fight the people that he believes is deserving and not the ones that are just staying. Like, a lot of the things he does is like Conor. But I don't see Sugar Sean being that big in that sense of having a country behind him, but he definitely has lots of eyes, and a lot of people love to see him live, so that's definitely helps him for the live gate and for those things.
45s, 50-44s. There's a lot of people that have matched what Conor did. Volkanovski is now easily considered the greatest featherweight. Max Holloway is considered the second greatest featherweight. Ilia Topuria has a resume that is very close to that of Conor's. Then we have Khabib's run at lightweight. Then we have Charles Oliveira's run at lightweight. We have Daniel Cormier as double champ. We have Amanda Nunes as double champ. We have Henry Cejudo as double champ. There's a lot of people that have done what Conor has.
Henry Cejudo is someone who bit way more than he could chew by getting that gift over Demetrius Johnson. Then he retires, and I think he wanted to come back for like a money play and try to see if he can get like a bigger contract, and it just doesn't work. And then you could tell when he's promoting a fight, he's trying extremely hard to get as many eyes on him, and it's so ingenuine and it's so horrible. It's almost like, bro, come pick your kid up. Like it's
has. And yes, your legacy should be secured and what you've done should still be respected. Most people remember how you end and not what you've done. Anderson Silva's legacy is tarnished so much from how he ended. Frankie Edgar is
not only how he ended, but he also popped positive for steroids. Can't forget that.
He's considered one of the best fighters of all time, but watching him get knocked out 4 times in a row has definitely changed people's perception on him. Now, with Conor's fan base, are people going to switch up on him? No. But the question of, is Conor actually ready for Michael Chandler is definitely still up in the air. But there's a real chance Conor goes out there and gets sparked. But his one hope and his one silver lining is Michael Chandler can sometimes fight like an absolute madman in a good way for Conor. Chandler has wild striking with big looping overhand rights, and he doesn't like to use his wrestling until he's already too tired for whatever reason, and Conor can come in with that hard left counter, except the thing is, no one knows how fast Conor is, no one knows how long Conor's cardio is going to last with the extra weight. Conor has not fought consistently in over 5 years. So it's impossible to really gauge what we're going to get from him. He is now 36. He has not done a weight cut in years. He has not trained seriously in years. He has been on a bender since July of 2021. So who knows how this is going to go. But why don't you check out me comparing Ilia.
So, as I said, when he was living on the state for Ireland and everybody ragged him for it, and someone who had no business experience, he made $600 million real quick, so I can't blame him for that. However, the downfall is more noticeable than most.